I feel that I need to explain why I skipped over these movies. Besides Ichabod and Mr. Toad, I've never seen any of these films and don't have them at hand. And doing my research, the 6 of these are apparently just a collection of short stories. Kind of like the Pixar short collections, but I might review these in the future. Anyways, that was my reason. I apologize to any Melody Time, Make Mine Music fans out there. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. Take it away, Penny! So, after 8 years of difficulties and 6 movies that are only known by die-hard fans, Disney remembered that fairy tales were a thing and animated Cinderella. Did it do well? Better than that. Cinderella frickin' saved the company. Cinderella is the hero, not Spider-Man, Thor, or Hulk. She's the ultimate hero. She's the reason we have The Lion King, Moana, and goddamn Tangled onto the big screen. It's all thanks to her. It's all thanks to the classic Disney movie, Cinderella. Wait, that's not Cinderella. Well, it is, obviously, but it's not the one I'm talking about. No, not that one. Not that one either. No, nuh-uh, nope. Nope.
Hold the phone.
Obviously, the concept of finding a mystery person through a shoe has been used way more than any other fairy tale throughout the filmmaking industry, whether it be set in a fantasy era or even modern day, especially modern day. However, we're not talking about those today. I mean, none of these were released in 1950, right? Well, unless they time traveled the tape into the 50s. So without further ado, let's dive straight into the plot synopsis. But in order to truly explain Ella's backstory, we're going way back to before of the beginning. The movie starts off with the classical book opening that we hadn't had since Pinocchio. At a chateau in France with a widow with a daughter named Ella. Feeling that she deserved more, her father remarries to another widow. With whom, you may ask? Satan, of course. I don't know which is more concerning, Tremaine poisoning her husband's drink, or this dog right here. Is it even breathing? After her father's death, Ella became a slave due to Tremaine's jealousy and was renamed. Years later, and Cinderella hasn't cracked somehow. She's voiced by Eileen Woods, and is the leader of a mice gang that are secretly training in combat to take down Tremaine and her daughters. There's then some news from Jock, who's voiced by James MacDonald, that a new mouse has arrived to join the army, and is also voiced by the same actor. Cinderella names him Octavius, but Gus for short. How is Gus short for Octavius? After Cinderella debates which is better, dogs or cats, and this cat and mouse segment, Cinderella the house elf gets summoned by Lady Tremaine for her daily chores.
There's the large carpet in the main hall. Clean it. And the windows upstairs and down. Wash them. Oh yes, and the tapestries, and the draperies.
But I just finished.
Do them again. And don't forget the garden. Then scrub the terrace, sweep the
Okay,
walls,
lighten
stairs,
up.
Clean the chimneys. And of course there's the mending and the sewing and the laundry.
You're the devil. I'd also like to mention that Lady Tremaine is voiced by Eleanor Audley, who voiced Maleficent in Sleeping Beauty. Meanwhile at Zelda's castle, the king, who's voiced by Louis Van Rooten, is upset because his son isn't sleeping with any girls and getting them pregnant. To fix it, he decides to host a royal ball to get him set up with somebody. It's mail time, and the family gets an invitation to the ball. Cinderella is excited, but her stepsisters laugh at her and dump more chores on her, preventing her from fixing up her dress. Anastasia is voiced by Lucille Bliss, while Drizella is voiced by Rhoda Williams.
Everyone's talking about it. The whole kingdom. Oh, hurry now. He'll be here in a minute.
Because 2 bitchy stepsisters are double the trouble, the mice surprise Cinderella by finishing her dress, which could have ended in tragedy. But Tremaine sicks the dogs on Cinderella, destroying her dress. She goes to the garden to cry, and all of a sudden, her fairy godmother appears after years of depression and abuse. She's voiced by Verna Felton, who also voiced several other Disney characters. Here's the list. Flora from Sleeping Beauty, the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland, Aunt Sarah from Lady and the Tramp, and the Elephant Lady from The Jungle Book.
You must be God. Good.
The fairy godmother then uses her magic, and some made-up words as well, to give Cinderella a fancy new car. And to top the miracle off, she gives her a brand new dress, definitely better than the old one, but very hazardous shoes. Also, a quick fun fact, this dress transformation was Walt Disney's favorite animated scene. Cinderella arrives at the castle and Prince Henry, who's voiced by William Phelps, calls dibs on her, but before he can make his father's wish come true, the clock hits midnight and Cinderella leaves, knowing that the spell would be broken at 12. As Cinderella leaves, her shoe, which is totally the right size, slips off and is left behind. She escapes with 5 stars and gets to keep the other shoe as a memento. All over the papers and news is another announcement from the king. You know what? Let's let Tremaine explain it.
Just this. No one, not even the prince, knows who that girl is.
We know, Cinderella!
Gus, shut up!
The glass slipper is their only clue. The Duke has been ordered to try it on every girl in the kingdom. And if one can be found whom the slipper fits, then, by the king's command, that girl shall be the prince's bride.
However, Cinderella, who's tired of the bull crap, says that she's the mystery girl and that she'll steal their chance to success while giving them each the finger. But it all backfires. Tremaine locks her in her room to get her out of the way as the Duke comes to their house. As the two stepsisters try to cram their fat feet in the slipper, Jock and Gus snatch the key from Tremaine's pocket and free Cinderella. And although Tremaine had destroyed the slipper, Cinderella had the other one, proving she's the mystery girl. Less than 24 hours later, Cinderella and Henry get married and he's still trying to remember her name. The end. So let's talk about the movie. I'll start off with the negatives first since I have very few to criticize. Number 1 is that I don't really care about the cat and mice scenes. I don't hate them, they're funny. I just feel that it's a waste of time and they could have had something else. Which brings me to number 2. I found it a shame that we don't get to witness any chemistry between Prince Henry and Cinderella. If they had removed the cat and mice scenes, we would have had room to add something. Imagine a scene after the song So This Is Love, but before the clock sang midnight, where the two relate over problems with their parents. They could even relate to the loss of their parents. Come on! The king was clearly all alone at the party. He obviously lost his wife at some point. And number 3 is that this movie feels anti-cat and it kind of hurts. I know Lucifer is evil and all, but he literally gets beaten up in some form of way. Even though Cinderella feels bad for him, a couple others feel that he deserves it. Lucifer is tossed out the window of a tower at the end. I'm not showing the scene, don't make me. Now, it's not as bad as what the Bolt movie does, but I can't help but feel depressed over it. And thank you for not having him fall off the tower in the live-action movie, Disney. I wouldn't have been able to handle it. Now with the negatives out of the way, I can talk about the positives. If you have to go to the bathroom, you better do it now, because I have a lot to say. This movie is 2 times better than Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, both story and entertainment-wise. If you remember how I rated that movie, then you know that I'm giving this a huger praise than what others feel. And is there a question as to why that is? Well, let's explore that, shall we? Let's talk about our protagonists. They're both the same when it comes to innocence, but have major differences. All Snow White does is fantasize about her prince and a happily ever after. She rarely shows any signs of anger, or at least irritation. She's just cheerful, and very bubbly. Cinderella, on the other hand, is gentle and sweet, yet knows when to defend herself. She doesn't even show favoritism for either cats or dogs. She tells Bruno it's wrong to have dreams chasing cats, and even tries to defend Lucifer trying to come up with any examples of his good qualities. Yet scolds the cat for the crap that he's pulled. My case in point is that Cinderella is a kind-hearted lady, but is not going to take the punch from anyone. With the animals, they both help out towards the beginning, middle, or end, but the mice in Cinderella have personality, with the addition of names. The Snow White critters, on the other hand, don't. This chipmunk right here, does he have a name? No, he doesn't. The stepsisters are some of the most entertaining characters in this movie. The mess-ups they do, or the way they argue or bitch at each other, is funny. Easily the best character in this movie is Lady Tremaine. She's so sickeningly evil and sadistic that I love it. The alarmingly thing is that these kind of people actually exist, and Tremaine doesn't need magic or anything to get what she wants. And for her to get slapped in the face with that slipper is so rewarding and justified. Oh, and this scene. Oh my god, this scene. The shadowing on her face, the thin lips and the glaring slanted eyes. Oh my. She instantly made me fear for Cinderella's life without the movie verbally trying to convince me to. It just explains it here, and props to Eleanor Audley for adding that hint of foulness in her voice to make the character come to life. The King and Prince Henry are alright, and I would have said the same thing for the Duke, but there's only 2 scenes that ones him up from the other 2. This shot of him recognizing Cinderella without having her trying on the slipper, and this.
Imaginative child.
Madam, my orders were every maiden.
Lucifer is pretty nasty, and the questions I said regarding the blue fairy from Pinocchio also applies with the fairy godmother, with the additional question of her showing up after years of Cinderella being abused. As for the locations and backgrounds, it's almost the same opinion I have for all these hand-drawn scenes. Amazing for its time. Now it's time to rate the songs from least favorite to best. Compared to the last movie I reviewed, which had 4, we're given an additional 2. In 6th and last place is the Cinderella song. Just because it's in last place doesn't mean that it's bad. It's the least interesting out of the others. It's a slow and calming song that's perfect for an opening. In 5th place is Bippity Boppity Boo. If you think I rate this song so low because it's minion language, you're pretty much right. It's above the previous because it sounds like a pretty good tune in general, and it's kind of interesting that they created a song from a made-up spell. Anything works if you just say a spell, expecto patronum boo. 4th place, Cinderella. It's a great kind of work song like Hi Ho, not exactly too much I can add. 3rd place, Sweet Nightingale. It's slow, soothing, and a great kind of melody. When Cinderella is on screen, that is. It's in 3rd place because Anastasia and Drusilla sang a bit of it at the beginning. I know it was intentional, but it's technically part of the song. 2nd place, So This Is Love. It's sort of the same with Sweet Nightingale, but without the potential need for auto-tune. It's soothing and slow. 1st place, A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes. No surprise here. It's in the league of Someday My Prince Will Come and is, in fact, slightly better than it. It's such a beautiful I Want song that sends chills down my spine. There's a video on YouTube that shows Eileen Wood singing it. Give it a watch if you haven't. So that was my Cinderella review. It's certainly the best movie Disney has released in a long time and has better characters and a more lovable villain than the ones in Snow White. I'm giving the 1950s Cinderella movie a big 7 out of 10. But ladies and gentlemen, this is only the beginning when it comes to great Disney movies, because the next after this is Alice in Wonderland. However, I feel that we should take a break and review something else first. I wanted to review Last Man Standing and talk about how it completely lost my interest after 3 seasons, but I didn't think I can do that when I don't want to waste my money on the other seasons I haven't watched. So instead, I'll be reviewing The Incredibles 2.